There we go. All right, now we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fellows in Arms. I'm your host,
Good evening.
Defur, and with me today I have JayNite, CatFight, and Soul. JayNite was in the last episode as well, but we have two new fighters with her today. Previously, it's been more about analytical people and community contributors, but today we also have some high-level players, which I'm really excited about. Let's see. Today we're gonna talk about a lot of things, but not too many things, because we have an exhibition match in the end of the stream as well. We're gonna talk a bit about the tournament experiences of Sol and Cat, and a bit what you guys were doing before the cast. Before you were playing. Sorry. So let's get right into it. I mean, how are you guys feeling? I know that JayNite, did you just wake up before the cast, or you said that you were?
I was out with I was doing like shopping with my friends for a wedding and boring stuff.
Okay. Okay.
It's not a big deal, you know.
Yeah, and you, Sol, you just came back from the San Diego tournament, or?
Okay, yeah, no, I've been traveling a lot. I've been really blessed this month. I've been out to 4 different states in just this month alone. It's been really hectic. Like we completed the SDCC 2017 Invitational, and
yeah.
Less than an hour later, I actually, it was less than an hour and a half later, I had to get on my plane. So I've gotten about a couple of hours of rest between the last day or two, and it's just been really hectic, but it's been fun. It's been a real blast, and I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you're here too, because I was wondering like if you were going to have time with all of your your busy schedule. And
they asked me if I wanted to stay Sunday, and I told them no. We have a talk show on the con, and I was really adamant that I was going to make this because I could tell that you wanted to do this. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I'm really thankful for that. And how about you, CatFight? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
What have you been up to?
Can't say much beyond that.
Yeah.
A lot of, well, I mean, outside of real life stuff, just playing a lot of ARMS, poking, preparing for Defend the North, just coming up soon for both games.
Nice.
But yeah, just a lot of usual, typical stuff, gaming and work life.
Okay, so like one of the things that I've been wondering about, both for you and Sol and CatFight, is that both of you have been to offline tournaments in ARMS, which I unfortunately haven't been able to be in because there are no offline tournaments for ARMS in Sweden yet. And I was kind of wondering about your experiences like surrounding that, because, well, I think there are a lot of players that kind of have been reading about the tournaments or seeing bits about it, but haven't actually been there.
Right.
Now I know you guys, both of you guys are have been playing games since before, right? I think CatFight, you were saying that you played Pokken, if.
Yeah.
And Sol, you were from the Smash community, right?
Yes. That was my first competitive game. I originated there.
Okay, so for example, with the NYC tournament there, CatFight, were you still considered a Pokken player when you went to that tournament, or was it just kind of?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, that's the one game I think I've done the best in as far as all my other competitive games. So I think a lot of people see me as mainly a Pokken player, and at that point, most people recognize me the same way. So, but I don't see myself just as a Pokken player. I just see myself as a competitive fighting game player.
I see. But so how was it for you going into the NYC tournament? Could you paint us a picture for how it was? Because there's been a little amount of media concerning that tournament, if I'm gonna be honest.
It was unfortunate. I thought maybe it would be streamed at the very least, but nonetheless, no, it wasn't streamed. But it was recorded. The matches are up online and stuff. But
oh, they are. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wait,
but it's a different vibe. Not having the direct footage or anything like that, or commentary and stuff like that. But the vibe there was still really awesome. You know, the crowd was really hyped for pretty much the entire tournament. There was 128 entrants,
Oh shit.
or 127.
Oh,
I
wow.
think there was like one entrant that could have got in if they wanted to, but yeah, the Nintendo store was packed. There was no place to sit. Everyone was standing like shoulder to shoulder.
I see.
So I enjoyed the experience, being able to be in the crowd with everyone still, and then going to play, as opposed to like seating or an arena and stuff like that. I kind of like the pit feeling. But
Okay. So
yeah, it was a great event.
so like the event, it was sorry for sounding kind of stupid here, but it was it hosted by Nintendo themselves, or was it there like another like people doing
Yeah,
it
no,
for them?
it was all Nintendo. I don't know who exactly is an employee of the store or like a representative of just like the Nintendo brand, as far as like who was there that day.
Mm.
But it was all run by Nintendo employees one way or another.
I see. And for you, Sol, like with the 2GC Arm Saga, now it feels kind of far away because you just won the San Diego tournament yesterday. But like,
It was like 3 weeks ago, not even, right?
yeah, no, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
so
very recent.
that tournament, I guess it was, because did you originally come there? You came there for the Smash tournament, right? Or was there for both of them, or like what was the thing for you there, like in that tournament?
So the community thought that it would be thematic to invite prominent Mac mains. I was through 2015, first half 2017, PR rated #1 Mac in the world. They ended up
I see.
pulling me in under that header, sent me a direct like request to come out, and I told myself like, you know, if I'm gonna attend Arms Saga, I'm not gonna half-ass it. I'm going to go in with every intent to capitalize on both events as best as I can.
Mm.
Okay.
So I went with the mentality that I intended to win Arms, and I wasn't certain that I would, but I did manage in this case.
But so were you in the Smash tournament as well then?
Yes, I was. I had a couple of solid sets. Ended up dropping out to DeBuzz, Lima, and I think my best upset there was over K9's Bruce. So,
I see.
Nice.
yeah, I think I concluded at 25th. I was, yeah, something like that.
I see. So like
It was
similar to CatFight, like are you also kind of considering yourself now more to be a competitive player? Because like for a lot of people, I think since you've been in the spotlight a lot, you're like the Arms player. Like even like you and Cirque, I guess, since that's what the Nintendo has been like posting a lot of in the Versus account there. Like, do you think you're a more competitive player now, or is that a bad thing to say, or how do you think about that?
I mean, I can't imagine why saying that I approach the game competitively would be a bad thing. It's not my only competitive game. I'm, you know, much like CatFight, you know, I'm branched out. I just consider myself a member of the FGC. I'm looking for Dragon Ball Fighter, things like that. But I do have a pretty distinct passion for this game. I approach it very studiously.
No,
I
sorry. Go
don't know
ahead.
what to say about that. I strictly, I'm sorry. but yeah, I'm a competitive. I'm a competitive player in this game at this juncture. I'm not necessarily the best player in the world like people like to throw out there. I'm learning. We all are. It's like 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
We're
No,
all-
I see what you mean. No,
That's half the fun.
I was wondering more because like the competitive Smash scene in Sweden at least is very kind of in some parts you could say it's kind of elitist, and it always kind of thinks of itself as like the community and separates itself from other fighting game communities, which I've found kind of since I'm very new to the fighting game communities, I can kind of see this from an outsider perspective, being that like Tekken players like to keep for themselves and Smash for themselves, and Street Fighter is like different.
Smash communities 100% are guilty of that degree. It's a common stereotype that Smash players only play Smash.
Yeah.
And like I can't combat that because in most cases it's true. Even with some of my most like high competitive friends in the Smash scene, I can't think of another game that they dabble in.
Yeah. But
That is the case. But I think that it's important to break away from that, so I do.
yeah, but it's also been feeling like at least initially that maybe it's because of Nintendo, like they have been pushing like for Smash players to be playing ARMS because I guess that's what their marketing money is going into right now. But it seems like it hasn't carried over like a lot, or has it? Like, has a lot of Smash players started playing ARMS now, or is it just like for fun, I guess? Or is
There's a reasonable carryover rate. Right now, ARMS is almost leaning into the Smash and Pokken. To be clear, like both communities, I believe, leaning into that. Well, then again, Smash and Pokken also had acceptable crossover on like a certain level, but it's definitely leaning into both communities right now for acceptance and growth. So that's true. There is a crossover rate despite the rumors, but again, we're not seeing prominent high competitive smashers like making big waves, except for and shout outs to this Abadongo. Good for him. Yeah, he did great at that tournament. Then I think we're starting to see like there are a couple of lesser known. That's almost crude in its own right because Zartzu is the #1 Mac of Europe, and he's a fantastic player, and he's also heading up the ARMS community over in, I believe, Finland.
Oh,
really?
Wait,
yes.
Wait, is he a Finnish player or?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that is.
I feel bad
Well,
that I
either
don't
way,
know more about him.
American ignorance on full display here.
Yeah, sorry, what?
He's from one of them Europe countries.
Yeah.
No,
He's from Europe, the country. What like as for the Pokken community, CatFight, I have like little knowledge about the Pokken community. If I'm gonna be honest, like how has it been looking there? Like, are there Pokken players that are carrying over now, or like are you the only like the sole one?
No, there's definitely Pokken players that are playing it. I mean, even in the competitive ARMS Discord, one player like Oroboro, who's a really notable Pokken player, always has really solid placings at majors. He plays Gardevoir, Machamp, a couple other characters, but he's been picking up ARMS, as well as Mins, who's another really high-level Pokken player, Shadow Mewtwo main. So I think a lot of Pokken players even originally had interest in ARMS when it first got announced, just because it's another, competitive Nintendo game. I believe a couple other players like Nexus, who's in the same region as Oro, both play ARMS as well. So there's still some carryover. It's not, it's not like a crazy amount, but there's still players out there that are picking up the game. Uchi, who is another Pokken community member, a contributor, and a player. Me and him play the same character in Pokken. We ended up playing the same character in ARMS as well. So,
I see.
Yeah, I think there's a good, not a tremendous amount, but still the interest is there from Pokken as well.
I see. So, one thing kind of what I was excited about now, bringing all of you here, like in this episode, was kind of since the last episode, the Evo Japan announcement came. I think it was like just a couple of days after the last like Fellows in Arms 3, and like from my perspective, being only like my only FGC basically is ARMS, and I just like came into this and was like, yeah, like it was super hyped when I saw the trailer. Like I got goosebumps and everything, but I like. And I guess I was kind of wondering your opinion about it too, JayNite. Like, ARMS did get included there, but I feel like at the same time when I was reading through the comments, there was a lot of people that were saying like, why did they pick ARMS over Melee? Or like, and I was also thinking like, well, Pokken is also getting released, like the Switch version, right, with a bunch of new characters. Like, what were you like? As of kind of mixed players that are dabbing into different games, what were your thoughts about not having all of them, basically.
Well, I mean, when you look at events like Evo, you know, they have the main events and they have all the side events. And especially when you kind of come from the angle that this is a Japanese tournament, you know, ARMS is actually gaining a lot of popularity in Japan. And on top of that, you know, Melee not being included is kind of like indicative of, and it's a bit more of a popular game in America or Europe even, but there's, you know, significantly less interest in Melee in Japan compared to all these other games that are their main events.
True.
So I think that it makes a lot of sense for that kind of roster. But I think a lot of people are kind of coming up from the angle, like they hear that ARMS is part of it and they're like, oh, why not Melee? But I think it's mostly just kind of like the people that aren't from that region kind of looking at from their perspective rather than from a Japanese perspective. But just in terms of like it being included, of course, having ARMS at such a giant major as Evo is going to be super great for the game, especially since we can probably get our highest level play that we've seen from that tournament, and that'll be great to put out there.
Yeah. What do you guys think, CatFight and Sol, about everything like Evo kind of?
Okay, so
Yeah, go ahead, Sol.
oh, thank you, CatFight. So ultimately, Evo was the shot in the arm the community needed to continue bolstering its own growth, because now it gives players something to work towards in the first place, and it also showcases them like, look, no, this is actually getting traction as an event at these larger tournaments. After Arms Saga and the NYC Invitational, I actually had some mild concerns, because I thought to myself, well, what do we do now? You know what I mean? What's next? But having that answer on the table for 6 months, plus all of the minor invitationals they're going to be scattering throughout right now,
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like, that's exactly what the community needs to continue to justify and grow its scene. So I'm ecstatic about that announcement, and I also agree. CatFight's right, both on pretty much every point he made. Verbatim, I would translate to correct, because culturally, people don't understand how big ARMS is in Japan right now. It's so here, and it has the potential to catch up. But Japan, they're crazy about it.
Yeah.
And then
No.
Two.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
two, the level of competition. But look, if you take any scene, you expand it to that kind of size, it's going to be more explored. It's going to be more in depth. You're going to see a large array of competition, and you just have a bigger interest pile. So of course we're going to see the toughest competition we have. And so, like I said, and I apologize if it seems like I'm just repeating, because essentially I am. I'm repeating because I agree with his points, literally verbatim. He's 100% correct.
I just want to say that was JayNite.
Yeah.
threw
But
that in.
That's okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
I
Hey,
think we all
JayNite.
got it.
Hey, I agree as well.
Oh, CatFight, I just want you to know that I'm sure that was your opinion as well. And it's,
yeah.
Before you even
No,
said
we're like the
anything.
same person. It's okay.
yeah, basically.
No, but
CatFight.
how about you,
So-
CatFight? Like,
JayFight.
since you're more, or not more, but also a Pokken player, like, were you kind of disappointed that Pokken didn't make it in, since they had the announcement of the new
Yeah.
version of it, basically?
Right. It is very peculiar that it's not there. I don't know if this is like the cemented lineup for all the main games. It could be, I haven't followed the announcements and things like that closely, but definitely it does come across strange that Pokken wouldn't be there, considering it's a lot bigger in Japan. It's same things as ARMS. It's a lot bigger in Japan. It has a healthier, I want to say, like, not community, but like they have a lot more majors there and a lot more support from the developer there. So it does strike me as peculiar that it's not there, especially because it's just getting announced in September. It's like a brand new game. A lot of people are going to have their hands on it.
But
And I know a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just
So-
wondering, like, would you have any like guess as to why it wasn't included, or was it just like because they have already too many games that are like put into this like pot of just?
I
you
really
know-
don't know, because like it has a scene already, a year, almost 2 years in by that time, like a little over 2 years, whereas like ARMS is going to be on the same platform. I feel like, Pokken being there would have made the same amount of sense as ARMS at the very least, just because it's been there for such a long time. It's on the same system. I don't know beyond that, but it is just strange to me that it's not there. But either way, I'm happy that ARMS is, and I've been kind of following the Japanese meta, and they play a lot different, I'll say, and it'll be cool to see like the Americans overseas adapting to their play, and also if it's going to be default or customs. As far as I know, Japan runs customs.
I see.
Yeah, that's my biggest curiosity by far.
Yeah. So, and for the most part, the Americas run default right now, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, like something we talked about, I think in almost all of the previous episodes, is just kind of the default versus custom arms, and like all of we've gone like back and forth in all of the kind of ways you can think about it, but I wonder, like you were saying, you were curious about it. So did you mean like why they're using custom, or just like in general? Like about the Japanese scene in general, like.
I mean that I have a natural fascination as to which selection they're going to incline themselves towards, because ultimately, it could end up shaping the ARMS scene in the West as well. If what we're training for, look, flatly, as somebody intending to attend, and also looking at it as the largest tournament to date for the series, if they say, "Hey, we're customs," guess what I'm training on for the next 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna shift potentially the direction in which we host these tournaments, and I think that it's definitely worth paying attention to. I think it's a debate that we absolutely do need to have, and even if you've had it 3 times before, we should have it again.
Yeah.
But
no, but like I'm up for hearing your opinions about it, because like as we've had 3 episodes before, and I don't want to like talk down us like too much. I know that we all play the game and stuff, and we're all learning, but it's nice to hear at least from like 2 champions, like what your opinions are on the custom versus the default. Because now, like even now when we were talking about it earlier, about if we were gonna use custom and default in the exhibition match, there were kind of opinions from both of you guys, like which one should be preferred, because I don't know, like now when I watched your stream earlier, Sol, and I think you were playing against Gore, and you were he was trying out both the default and the custom, and it was like really interesting to see how kind of his like how the matchup changed, just because he was limited to like that kind of.
I think Helix goes from literally the bottom of the roster to the top, maybe 1 or 2 of the roster once you get him in customs. He has a few weaknesses, but that character, like, I feel like he is not designed. Like, no, that's not true. But what I mean to say is, I feel like his defensive kit, coupled with quick, effective arms, is just he loses nothing, because he's a character that can apply his offense while moving defensively consistently. With very little risk. So once you give him the access to the best offensive options on top of his defensive movement, he becomes so frightening. So frightening.
Yeah, I personally believe he was balanced by giving him bad default arms.
That would make sense, actually. That's pretty funny.
Now, I would argue that what I would like to see...
Bad default arms.
No, never. I would immediately allow... Like, I would 100% take... I would 100% take customs Helix over ban customs Helix, because I don't believe that's a good way to run the game, and he is strong, but he's not so strong that you simply can't win. That's not the case. Right. It's just seriously not in your favor. So actually, this is worth discussing, though. So, CatFight.
Yeah,
CatFight, you had a love for Pokemon, right? VGC 2015, 2016. How did that meta look?
In Pokemon?
Yeah, in Pokemon VGC.
I have no idea. I didn't follow VGC.
No problem. I will enlighten you. You had every team with Mega Kangas. In 2016, Mega Kangas, you had Kyogre, Groudon, or you could replace one of them in there with, Xerneas, and you could replace Mega Rayquaza. And that was it. And every team literally ran this. You have a game with 748 intricate pieces, and you saw like 12, 14 of them. Yeah. And you know why you saw that? Because having more options doesn't always mean creating more diversity in your meta, which is something that people don't necessarily understand. They think, oh, I want access to these cool arms. I want to be able to choose whatever I want to choose. But competitively, what you're actually doing is stymieing your population because you're forcing people to compete with one another, and they're going to have to do that by accessing these same arms. Yeah. So whereas I might think that you have 8, maybe 9 legitimate, like, viable characters in default competitive with 25 competitive arms, I think the second you go to customs, you cut that down to 4, maybe 5 characters with maybe 9 arms.
Yeah, true.
That's what I've been saying.
So that's a really good. That's a really wise comparison because I didn't even think of the VGC one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because one of the main arguing points, one of the primary, and that's the thing. That's why I do advocate against it ultimately for competitive, is that one of the main arguing points is that we want to see diversity and we want to see variety. But are we really going to see that with Hydra, Cracker Popper, Ram? You know, are we going to like
double bub?
One thing,
double
like,
bub. But I think double bub's gonna fall off, honestly. Actually, not if we put that on Kid Cobras and we put that on.
I wouldn't say it's as strong as Roaster though.
Yeah,
I want to mention two things here. Like in the previous episodes, and a quick shout out to Roboto Boy, who was also kind of saying this in one of the earlier episodes, like just about the kind of the more options give you actually less options because a lot of people will kind of the meta will stagnate and people will just choose the most effective ones. But at the same time, I keep seeing now of course this is very early into the meta, so it's very hard to compare and stuff like that. But now there has been quite a few online tournaments, and they're mostly the same players that because now I've been into 2 of them, but I've been watching 4 or 5 of them. And I keep seeing Formal Cat, who's usually here and in the chat. He has placed 3rd in all of them. So I'm starting to see kind of how these players play. And the interesting thing for me was now for the last few weeks I've been thinking oh, okay, with custom arms Helix is gonna be strong, right? And Gore is probably gonna be one of the top players. And then in the tournament that was yesterday, which was the Right to Bear Arms, Gore actually placed 7th, and QWERTY I think won with Kid Cobra, and he was using Megaton and Slapamander, I think. And
Smalton won the tournament.
Oh, was it Smalton who won? Sorry. Yeah. No. Okay. So QWERTY came in 2nd then, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but and the thing was that. Before I saw how QWERTY played, I haven't seen a Kid Cobra use Megaton in that kind of way that he was doing it, and especially the.
It's absolutely frightening.
Yeah, and the thing that I am starting to see now, at least as for meta, is that when a lot of min-mins right now are using the Tribolt and Chilla, or Tribolt, Chilla and Ram, those 3s, and they kind of go between them. But with all the other characters, I feel like there's still kind of uncertainties that we haven't figured out yet, because I don't see anyone using double Hydra anymore, for example, because it's really easy to counter, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm not rank 20, so just from my perspective.
No, I still see the double Hydras online. Okay. I don't know how many people in tournament have been using that, as far as who's placing top 8 and things, but it's still a viable strategy online, and I'm sure we'll end up seeing it in tournaments regardless. That double bub I still see online, bub and Seiki.
But as for you guys, Sol and CatFight then, and also you, JayNite, how do you feel right now? That is it would you rather prefer it to be default, then, or like?
I prefer.
I've
I
been a
definitely
big
prefer default. Yeah, I definitely prefer default.
yeah. I've been a big advocate for default for a long time. I would say that it's a line I throw out a lot. I prefer the characters to be more of their own characters and less of like a movement set that you choose to play as with whatever arms.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it becomes more
function.
interesting. It becomes more interesting if each character is their own character rather than like, oh, I want to move like this and I'm going to use the best arms.
Yeah.
That for that kind of movement. It's just less interesting to me, and I don't think that the meta will develop as well if that was the case.
One of the common misconceptions, because you see, because there's chat's mentioning it to a degree as well, and I just think it's important to notate on, is that because you do see a reasonable diversity currently, this is week 3. So this is the experimentation phase where people begin dissecting the meta and understanding what works, what works, what works, what works.
Yeah.
And it'll continue to shift around patches and nerfs. But for instance, there was a solid like week before the patch where literally everyone was running Hydra, 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 Hydra.
Yeah,
Harris,
you're true.
Hydra,
That's true. Yeah.
And again, that's just the nature of a competitive game, is that you're gonna isolate and figure out optimal combinations, and you're gonna utilize them. And there will just simply be better choices, especially when it comes to character selection. Like I have seen some great work from Drogus, Phallus. Hell, even Gore actually can do work with Blorbs to a degree, although, let's be real, that is still more hindering than it needs to be. But a lot of min-mins. Jorpin, for example, comes to mind as a great min-min. But again, as well, Phallus. We had Nero, Mechanica, Pool, top 8, and I think the only reason he got dunked out was because of me in SDCC.
Yeah.
TLDR, I can definitely point to a large variety of competitive, valid default players as well, and yeah.
As
Go
for
ahead.
me, as for me with all of these things, I'm kind of hoping that again, I'm not from the FGC community previously, so I feel like as an outsider, like when I'm hearing these things, it sounds very kind of. And I'm not saying this like in a kind of like confronting way that you're wrong and anything, but
It's okay.
it feels like when people are using the argument that a character should be like one character and that's how you use it, it sounds very like kind of Smash, and it sounds like Pokken because that's the way that those games are played. For me, like
Or like any other fighting
true.
game, though.
yeah, no, but
Well, especially in Smash, that's not necessarily true. For example, different characters can have completely differently played
Well,
archetypes.
okay.
You have Momentum
Yeah,
and
that's-
Alpha between
yeah.
Captain Zack and Salem. You have a whole diverse. I'm literally considered the most aggressive Mac player in the top 10 in the world. In fact, the only real, besides Bash, I think the two of us are the only real aggro Macs in that top 10. The 8 of them are defensive Macs. And so, like, no, that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
And you will see diversity, yes, to a degree in playstyles, and not every character has to be played exactly the same way, but there are only so many ranges that you're going to fit under. And again, certain characters are going to be predisposed. Like, why would you run big, slow arms on Helix? The only characters, really, that have that kind of option select is characters with solid arm girth. And
Yeah.
and that's honestly, that's it.
Yeah, that was one of my issues when I look at custom arms because I'm a bite and bark main, and I'm like, well, I have 2 girth arms, so I can put all these different arms on me, but it's not going to make my character viable when I can't effectively use some arms because my arm girth is so low. Like some arms need higher arm girth to be effective, and it's not going to make those characters with a lower arm girth that are better just because they have the option for those arms because they can't effectively use them.
Just to kind of explain how I was thinking there, like for custom's sake, is that like, so I come from a background of like, I know it is gonna sound stupid, but like Team Fortress 2, which had a small competitive scene, and also what was it? But Team Fortress 2 and MOBAs especially, and the thing with those games is that like the meta does get developed until someone like cracks it or like someone finds something that counters it. And what I'm kind of wondering, like is that a common thing in like fighting games that when a meta is kind of structured and it's kind of finalized, it's like it comes to the point where it's unbeatable, or it's like it can't be cracked? And do you think that will happen in ARMS too? Like,
the question is not can it be cracked. The question is with what difficulty must one pursue to crack it? Because ultimately, when you look at Melee, look at that Fox meta. Hungry Box in fun factoid. Hungry Box in Big House, I want to say 2015, 16 is one of them. Big House 6, something like that. He had from his top 258 all the way to grands, or winners, not grands, all the way to the place where he got knocked out, winners, finals, something like that. Exclusively fought foxes. There are like 24 characters in that game. He exclusively fought fox. And when you take a game like ARMS, which has customization and variation inside of its selection, you're gonna pick the strongest option, and then your other two arms are gonna be dedicated to countering the counters to that option.
Okay.
So,
but like I see what you mean. I'm just kind of hoping that the game, like that, basically the game won't be coming to a point like that, because the thing that happened in Team Fortress 2 when they started allowing custom weapons, you know, like now Team Fortress 2 has like thousands of weapons, but the thing that happened was that like different teams had like different play styles that became like their signature. So I'm like kind of hoping that that will be a thing in ARMS, but I think it's also one of those things that will kind of develop over time, and probably will, like when EVO Japan comes around, it will, I think we'll basically know the answer to this question. Or do you guys agree with that, or do you think
that entirely depends on whether or not they go defaults or customs? But
yeah.
Look, I will also on the inverse be the first person to say it doesn't mean that we shouldn't explore customs. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't consider these options. Smash 4 did it. It's not the same thing. Let's be clear immediately. I'm not saying that they're the same thing for the guys out there getting ready to chew my neck out.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, like, exploring that kind of diversity and those kinds of options, fine. But I do not believe you can balance a game with 33 options around 11 characters each. I just don't. I don't think that is an optimal way to approach creating an environment based dependently upon a skill differential. And everything in my competitive experience and history tells me that the longevity of the game will be in default if we are focused on making a true competitive experience.
Okay.
But ultimately, we're only human. I can be wrong about that. And I am always open to exploring those metas, because it is still worth investigating. It's worth discussing. So I don't want people to feel like...
It's way too early right now.
Yeah, I don't want people to feel like this is me completely closing off the argument or just not being open to it. In fact, I've even suggested actively a compromise solution to prevent the whole countering your counters arm setup kind of deal. And I was thinking that ultimately we might benefit from a default +1 meta. Something to consider too. Instead of being able to completely switch your entire loadout to suit you and your every need, you replace one arm you don't like from your default loadout, and now every character has a strong element of viability. That actually would make, I would sincerely believe that would make 11 out of 11 viable characters.
I could swap an arm for Hydra.
We're gonna have a lot of like new characters and new arms and new stages in the future as well. So it's really hard to really have like a cemented perspective of how the game should be played as far as the meta is concerned right now.
The toughest part is... Oh, please, I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, we could get like a character that becomes like the best default character, but just on their arms alone, we don't know how that's going to affect the meta in the future. So
it also depends on how Nintendo decides to balance the game, whether it's around customs or defaults.
Yeah.
So that's also important.
Right now, it seems like the...
Sorry, I'm just like gonna take like closing remarks about this, and then we're gonna like move on to the next topic, because we still haven't gone on to the second topic of the evening.
Please, by all means.
But yeah, basically it sounds like it sounds a bit like we talked about in the previous episodes where we said we have to wait and see, but now we have a bit more to go by, basically. Is that what I'm hearing from you guys right now?
Yes, and also, side note, do not, and I love Nintendo, do not expect them to balance out all of your problems and customs. I promise you, they will not fix everything. That is just not the way the support has worked.
I don't know if anyone can do that.
No, yeah, it's not a Nintendo fault, but it is a bit of an MO, and furthermore, like that's a task for any company.
They make good games, but they're not that good.
No, but and I guess you're in this kind of segments well into the next topic, because I guess you're basing that off how Nintendo has been treating Smash, and I was kind of wondering for all you guys, like going into ARMS from other games, like has anything from the other games like helped you getting into ARMS? And I know, because I know, Sol, that you were playing Mac a lot in Smash, but does Mac translate well into ARMS? Like, he just has gloves. I don't see the correlation, but maybe could you explain?
I mean, I think it's foolish to say that playing Little Mac made me better. Playing a fighting game that involves footsies and neutral and spacing and understanding like risk versus reward, and that helped. But ultimately, the thing that helped me the most was not my gaming background. It was my boxing background, and I know that's going to get the weird head turns. I'm going to be looked at like a crazy person. Look, this ain't boxing. I know that. I'm not dumb. I trained as a boxer for shy of a year. This is not boxing. But there are concepts and elements that definitely do translate for an individual as a player. And it's fascinating. It's definitely fascinating to see. Like, for instance, if somebody throws, if you're circling, first of all, you want to circle the opponent. When somebody throws, like, for instance, they throw a left, you want to slip under that right to the outside. It's called slipping the jab. It's an old classic one, and you rib them right after you slip. And it has great application because the second you cross up that arm and you're on their outside, they can't cross inside without committing a hard jump or just simply getting hit. So like that is an example for where fighting sense has actually come into application for the game.
No, I see what you mean. I think Robotoboy was mentioning something like that earlier too, and I can really see that too, because I also very briefly for like 1 year was practicing Jeet Kune Do, which also has like a lot of boxing stuff in it, and it's a lot of these kind of the small parts, like the microscopic, like how you read opponents and stuff like that, which I really like, and which I think translates really well into ARMS, like when you can kind of see on how an opponent is moving, like what they want to do before they do it, basically. But like, how was it for you, CatFight? Like, was there any specific parts in like Pokken that kind of helped you getting into ARMS, just except for it being like a fighting game, of course, because that's, you know, the obvious part of it, but you know.
Right. I wouldn't say there's any real comparison between the two. I don't think my experience in Pokken really lend itself to me playing ARMS the way I do. I just think that, you know, cop-out answer, but general fighting game knowledge is the only thing that basically transferred over. How you want to approach the game, and you know, like footsies, like Sol said, basically footsies, mix-ups, standard fighting game stuff transferred over, but nothing as far as gameplay between Pokken and ARMS transferred over.
Okay. And would you say the same thing then, JayNite, or like?
I mean, for me, I played a decent amount of Smash. You know, when I was younger, growing up. My brother was like top best PM player in Kentucky. You know, before that game kind of got shot in the face.
PM player?
Project M.
Okay.
Mod for Brawl makes it like Melee. But yeah, so but for me, my competitive kind of fighting game started mostly last year. Started playing fighting games a bit more seriously with a buddy. I started with Street Fighter, kind of got into Guilty Gear, and now I'm playing ARMS now. And I think that no matter what fighting game you come from, you can really like because you know, as long as they have that kind of footsies, because ARMS is a very footsies based game, and as long as the fighting game has, footsies and reading your opponents and kind of getting a feel of what your opponent's going to do, you can apply all of that kind of experience over to playing ARMS, because ARMS does have the elements of, a fighting game, has all the elements of a fighting game, and you can apply it. It's just much different than what we've seen so far. So even though it's very new territory, there's still very familiar things to it that I think people can appreciate no matter what their background is.
I see. For me personally, I'm hoping that I can incorporate this more into my game. So I was playing a lot of StarCraft before and messed up both of my arms, got carpal tunnel, so I couldn't play that anymore. But the thing that I really loved about that game is how you could actually look into how players were playing strategically before the games. Like, you could find out their demos. So what I would do is, I would take a if I was playing a tournament, I was watching demos of all the people in the tournament and trying to counter them before they even knew. And I'm hoping that I can do that more in ARMS, because it feels like in tournaments that's something that could come into play, at least when it's customs. But I don't know. I'm hoping that it's something that I can bring into it. Actually, I was thinking we're gonna switch over to the third topic of the evening, which is practicing and stuff like that in ARMS. I don't know how the regiments work in fighting game communities, if I'm gonna be honest. I know that Smash has a lot of people are sitting in the same house and playing together, or that's how it was before the Wii U version, at least. I know that's how it's done in the Swedish community as well. All the Swedish players meet once a week, and then they train in one place and then train specific things. But have you guys been able to do any specific practice, or are you all just playing ranked right now, or how's that been going for you?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, cool. I do two things basically. I do the ranked ladder up until I can't move any further than that, and then once that is done, pretty much I just go to the versus mode, but set the AI to stationary, and I'll do a lot of labbing of certain interactions and combos and confirms and things like that, new mix-ups and new ideas that I've experienced, either playing unranked or playing friendlies and stuff, and try to recreate those scenarios and use them in either friendlies or a next ranked session. But I would say it's a good balance between just ranked and a lot of labbing in versus mode.
I actually saw you posting about the labbing that you did on the Springman Arena versus Max Brass, where you were trying out combos specifically. What was the aim for you to see how far you could push the combos, and was it only for Max Brass, or was it for all of them?
I chose Max Brass initially just because of his bigger hurt box.
Okay.
So I wanted to see how far I could really push the combos or things like that by using his model first, and then I was able to test against other characters to see if it is the same, and in some cases it is, but his hurt box definitely is the biggest one, so I can get the most damage from that.
I see.
But still the same ideas and concepts apply to other characters. It just won't be as much damage.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the way that you do it in Tekken, when you put up practice mode and then you try your kind of juggling combos to it. Is there something like that in Pokken too, or?
Tekken has a really nice training mode, I'll say, in comparison to both ARMS and Pokken. There's no recreation feature or CPU record function and things like that in either of these games. So you have to almost manipulate the AI or stationary AI in a way to find these scenarios that either you thought up or experienced in an actual match and stuff, without having the ability to set them to jump or set them to do specific actions and stuff like that. So in some ways it's kind of even more rewarding to find those setups and stuff in games like this that don't have such a good training mode, because it means that you're able to like push it to an extent that really might not have been thought of by the developers. You know, like one example being you're able to get the stationary AI onto the springboard by doing a specific setup, and they're able to just like kind of stay jumping on the springboard, and you can test things that you wouldn't be able to with like a normal AI or otherwise. So
I see. But that's really interesting. I liked that you were posting a lot about the pictures and stuff of how you got into it, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing more of that. JayNite.
I'll be doing more.
Yeah. And JayNite, I was kind of wondering because you did the guide for Bite and Bark like a couple of weeks back. Like, have you been like, how's your practicing been like lately now after that?
I don't. I have a few small things that I do. I haven't been practicing as much as I should be, but I would say that the things that help me are, I'd say rank doesn't help me too much. That's not really what helps me improve. I'd say what really helps is playing an arena with players you know are good, talking with them, kind of discussing how the match went, and trying to get feedback. So just kind of one-on-one play with better players really helps, as well as sometimes I just go into the versus mode training, just work on. I go into the advanced like aiming thing just to like try and help me my punches. Actually, from inspiration of that, I'm actually making a video now about why the aiming system, particularly against Ribbon Girl and Helix, is kind of buggy.
Vertical, man.
Yeah, it's a horizontal game with a bunch of vertical elements for some reason, and so that's inspiration for a video.
That's
but
a good video. I'm glad you're making it.
Yeah, inspiration for a video.
That's something that I've been seeing talking about, like in a lot of the discords, like just how that's working. And I'm really looking forward to that actually.
As in it not working.
Yeah, no, I like how it's functioning basically, but or not functioning. But because the way that you did the Bite and Bark video, basically, I felt like after you made that video, it allowed people who were just kind of curious about the character to actually take the first step and get into it. So that will you upload it to your YouTube channel then, or?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking out for any like video topics that would be helpful in that sort of way. So like anyone who wants to make suggestions for like any bigger video topics that would really help out the community with the information, I definitely will be making videos like that.
You should have like one video specified for like gore, just like how.
Oh yeah, I mean Gore said, what was it? I mean, if he wants to help me make a Helix guide, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, I'm always looking out for stuff like that, and I mean, I haven't made a video in like 3.5 weeks, so I need to get on it. But yeah, so that's just generally what I've been doing. Just as a little small preview, like my general, just a small preview, is the way that aiming up works at the moment is you fire. And then on the first frame of you attacking, it decides the height that your opponent's going to be at the moment that your arm would reach them. So if your opponent does any sort of air movement after you fire the punch, then it won't hit, basically. Nice. So that's double jumps, that's air dashes, that's even punching in the air for air stalling. It will make the attack not go at the right height to hit them. And that's why Hydra is so prevalent at the moment, because it's just not viable to hit people with arms that aren't like Hydra. Like, aiming up should be the counter to Ribbon Girl, but aiming up is the worst idea against Ribbon Girl because she has so many options.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But yeah, that's all going to be in my video. And rant, I guess.
Yeah. No, but I'm looking forward to that. And Sol, how about you? Like now you've been traveling a lot and kind of streaming a bit in between, but like have you, because I guess your training regimen from Smash has been kind of hardcore. Like how do you have like any plans for how to get into that with arms, or?
I mean, yeah, it's again, much as CatFight suggests, and something that people don't understand is the What's our you know what? Yeah, I no. What's our curse ratio on this? What am I allowed to say?
It's over
I need a
18 on this stream actually, so you can say fuck how many times you want to.
Phenomenal, thank you. So I'll keep it mild enough, but I just want to be clear. Getting your ass beat is the #1 way to improve. You go in there, you go into the grindhouse, you burn your nose against that stone over and over and over and over. You go until you stop losing, and it takes time. It takes time. There are matchups that you won't understand. There are players that will outplay you in ways that you don't understand. That's good, because the more you're exposed to that, rather than just going through and beating people, for fun, having some ranked play, running into cheese and then a one and done, or going into formerly Snake Park and still Cinema Dew. No, the best option, flatly, is to actively seek out strong opponents, challenge them, and play them.
That's why I always rematch people that I lose against.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I have that same problem.
That's really good. I kind of wish I had that that strong mentality. I once went into a lobby with Tentaman, Gore, and I think it was like QWERTY and stuff, and basically it was like the lobby game where they had up to 30 coins, and I had like 4 coins, and everyone else had like 25, and I felt so bummed out because it was on stream as well. But I think that's a really good way to.
I would love to be in that lobby myself.
Yeah, no, and now when I'm thinking about it and how you guys are talking about it, of course I want to go more into that, because on my stream lately I've been playing a lot against 2 players called Formal Cat and Meow, and they're both playing Min Min, which I have like the most difficulties with. I can't stand the Ram right now, and the Min Min Tribolt, and so
I gotta hop in when you're streaming sometime.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You should play.
Definitely come and beat me, because I'm still like the average player, so that's people can relate to.
All right, I'll help you out, man. You better try and beat me though.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Expose yourself to it.
Yeah,
that's bottom line. Expose yourself to it, because ultimately, if you don't, then you won't learn how to beat it. If you run away from it, if you walk away from the thing that's beating you, you won't learn how to beat it. That'd be like if every time you got like to the part of the difficult chunk of a guitar solo and you hit the wrong note, you just stopped, walked away for a day, and then came back and started from the top.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an ineffective methodology. But yeah.
One thing that I'm also hoping for, like moving forward, is to kind of create maybe not a team, but wait, sorry, is that CatFight's background?
CatFight's a lot of background noise right now.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people talking. Sorry.
No, that's fine. But yeah, the thing that I'm hoping like moving forward is to kind of maybe create some sort of like team, not kind of like getting into like sponsors and everything, but just creating a group of players where we can just kind of lab like CatFight was saying, but against players, and kind of having it on stream. Hopefully that's something that I can put out in the future. Speaking of future, holy crap, that was a good segment. What are your guys like plans for the future, like now, as like speaking from currently, like today, like, because I know for example, Sol, you were talking about going to Evo, and you said that it sounded kind of certain for your sake there.
Yes. I am, in regards to heading to Japan, Evo Japan, I am solidified through. I was solidified through for the most part, but it was going to be a bit of a struggle. Basically, between like my sponsor and my friends, my tickets covered. I got help with accessing a passport. I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to be living. Well, the thing is, the intention is I'm going to be living in Japan for the first quarter of 2018.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
That's going to be cool.
So
it's, I mean, a little background, sure. I love it there. I lived there for about half a year. When I was 19, I used to work at a little gaijin dive bar under the table, very illicitly. And then I'm going to pretend I totally didn't just pick my ear on stream. And then, yeah. But no, I love Japan.
Yeah.
It's a cool place, interesting scene, and it's just nice to kind of get away from. Honestly, I'm just gonna be happy to get away from maybe American politics right now for a while. That'd be swell.
This is
Okay.
True
Alright.
that.
So, how about you, CatFight? Do you like what are your plans? Are you going to like try to get to Evo Japan? Are you going to a lot of online tournaments, offline tournaments?
It would be nice if I could go to Evo Japan. I don't want to say that it's very likely for me to. I work a lot. So it's hard for me to get off, time for events like that. But I have in the past, for CEO, I just went down there and competed in both ARMS and Pokken. And then, fortunately, I'm in the tri-state region is a really good region for video games because a lot of things happen here. So I don't have to travel too far for a lot of upcoming events. Like Defend the North is going to be next weekend, and that'll be a nice one for ARMS.
Sorry. Can I just like ask, since I'm not from America, like what does the tri-state region mean? Sorry.
New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
And New York and New Jersey are always pretty active in whatever fighting game is coming out. So it's a good place to be for fighting games. And ARMS is no different. Defend the North is like a New York City fighting game major, and ARMS will be their free entry $500 pop bonus. So I'll be definitely attending that next week. And then there's also recently announced almost the same deal in Northeastern Championship 18. We'll have ARMS there as well for a $500 pop bonus, and that's in December. And then in the meantime, whatever pops up, if I have the time off, I'll be going to those. Hitbox Arena, I support their ARMS local almost every single week. I try to head out there, and we've had some success with getting some new players out there that want to push the scene. So a lot of my future in ARMS is for now in the tri-state area, but I'm looking to expand if I have the opportunity to travel in the future.
All right, thanks for that. That sounds awesome. It sounds awesome that there are so many things that you're able to do, that there are so many opportunities in the States right now. I want to say I'm envious, but I'm more happy for the community rather than being envious in this case. So
I'll be envious with you.
Okay, so okay, JayNite.
I live in like the Midwest area of the United States, which like nothing happens in. It's like a pretty rural area. You have to move. You have to like travel like really northeast or northwest to actually get anywhere that's like an actual tournament.
Okay, so
I mean, personally, I'm planning on hosting a local when the college semester pops up again. But like I just been looking, and there's like no locals. Again, like I think one of the key things about the U.S. is that you need a lot of people to be tournament organizers, because it's just so widespread, and you need like several locals in each state. And it's just really tough.
Yeah. Okay.
To really kind of get enough support in like those certain areas, but definitely like Texas, California, New York, those areas, those are very like centralized, important areas to have activity in.
It sounds kind of similar to a lot of, at least it's on a way smaller scale, but to Sweden, because if you're not basically if you're not in Stockholm, it's very hard to find communities, and you have to like drive or like fly to that place. But I know that it's a very much smaller place. But I hope the communities can develop so much that they can spread out and become smaller in those kind of local areas there, or rural areas, I would say. I guess for me, and that's because I see in chat too that people are writing like the European scene is dead, but there is actually, I don't remember what the tournament was called, but there was a big Smash tournament in Sweden, in Gothenburg. I think it was this spring, like March or February. I think it was in February, and I'm actually with the people who will be doing the tournament that will replace that tournament in Sweden. Hopefully it's going to be like one of the bigger tournaments for Smash in Europe. But we're also working, like trying to get ARMS into that tournament.
Nice.
It's called Horizon, and basically I think it will be in February, because nothing big is happening Europe or in Sweden at that time. So hopefully we'll be able to like gather enough people for ARMS there, which I'll be like the tournament owner for.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, and other than that, like the plans that I have for the stream and like going forward with ARMS is that hopefully like a lot of people are like looking into getting to EVO for playing. I'm just hoping that EVO wants to have an English caster, because in that case I want to be that guy. But so I'll keep doing these Fellows in Arms episodes, and hopefully I'll also be able to go to Japan, because I was almost getting like nostalgic and happy now, Sold, when you were talking about Japan. But I came back from Japan now in April, and I already miss it for a lot of things. And I haven't been able to get into the fighting game community there, but it would be super awesome to actually enter there and you know, be someone as well. I think this is gonna be like the podcast part of this episode, and we're gonna set up for the exhibition match in a couple of minutes. And I see that you're already holding the controller, Sol. So for anyone like watching this VOD, we will be finishing the episode here. But for anyone who is watching the stream, we will try to set up the match now, and we will begin in 10 minutes or so. And afterwards, after the match, we will have well, the closing remarks and the shout-outs for everyone in this episode. So without further ado, I think we will you know, be right back. So this is the first time I'm doing gameplay in Fellows in Arms, so please stay hyped, and we'll be right back shortly. Okay, see you guys.
Awesome.
All right.
And I also forgot to mention that we'll be running a trailer here. It's an announcement. Shout out to Diatonic. And yeah, I hope you guys look forward to this. It's gonna be pretty cool. So I'll put up the trailer for you guys here in a second.
From the darkness, strong and silent, like pillars in the night, they break the dawn, hungry and violent. Scarlet rain falls, hot and heavy. Show me that you got the strength to fight. Boy, are you ready? And so may love guide your way through every last endless trial. Always tempt your fate with luck and a smile. Watch out for danger left and right. It's just like dancing in the dark. You slip through like a knife and cut your way right to the heart. Let your path unfurl and the world will always sing your story. Like a bloody storm, it surges like a bloody storm. When destiny runs through your veins, so wild and wet and warm. Fate may pull the strings, and who knows what tomorrow brings. But tonight, we stand together.
Okay, guys, so make sure to sign up for that tournament. It's a big shout out to Diatonic because he's a really good tournament owner. And we'll be right back with the exhibition match in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned, guys. While we're waiting, let's actually have another video coming up. So let's take a look at that in the meantime. If you're not aware about ARMS University, you should really check out this channel. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to them as well and play up their trailer that they have on their channel. So here it is.
out. And oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Pause the stream.
transition.
Alright, I got
There
you.
we have it. Okay. Hello everyone, we're back. We're just
Hey.
waiting for Sol to get into the game, and then we will start the exhibition match. Hopefully, yeah, things are looking good on my screen. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm like really hoping nothing just breaks apart here.
You know it's gonna happen though.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna break.
But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this game since I got it together.
It's gonna be great.
I've been wanting to see kind of longer games between higher tiered players, because a lot of them have been kind of best of threes, so you haven't been able to see people like kind of, you know.
And this is a best of 7, correct?
Yes, this is a best of 7, so this will be a bit longer than the usual game. So like right now we're just waiting for Sol basically. He is, I believe he is coming into the game in a moment here. Let's see. There he is. Okay, we have them both ready as well. So. Oh yeah, in chat, this is a best of 7. So let's go and see which game it's gonna be the first one here. Are we ready to start? I think we are.
I'm ready.
Alright, okay, let's go.
I'm gonna adjust my camera to get in front of me, just for the experience. Hello everybody, and this is gonna be the first round of our exhibition match between Sol and CatFight. It's gonna be an interesting matchup here, both using defaults, as we can see. And we'll see what kind of loadout they start with. Okay, well, a Parasol and a Thunderbird for CatFight, and a Toaster and Tribal for Sol right there. We'll see. They're just going to start this right immediately.
They're getting right into it.
Nice hit by Sol right there. And he's trying to play pretty aggressively. Twintel got the grab right there.
Yeah, that was kind of a cheeky grab from Sol, I think. It's kind of interesting to see how their play style is going to go against each other. I've been watching a lot of Sol gameplay. Oh, there we have a rush.
There's the rush. Oh, but he's not getting anything. There we go. They got the stun, but it didn't fall at the playing time. But here we go. That was the bait.
That was really good.
He actually got that hit right at the end.
Yeah. I think
there we go. Another.
I really like how CatFight was able to use the dash ability there to go around the rush and completely denying that grab. He wanted to go for the grab cancel, but he was not able to.
And the Parasol and Twintel doing a lot of work against this Tribal here. A lot of slow-mo, a lot of dashing here. It's very hard for a hit, but he got the combo CatFight and like a scenario. So was able to get back away.
Both of them have been kind of close to the rushes now. CatFight really seems to want to use his rush right now, but it's not getting the opportunity. Sol is not giving in.
Yeah, Sol has a much more advantage here. He's got that block with the break.
But there's almost no time left. I think CatFight is not going to be able to get the
That
damage
was a bit
done.
of a wasted use on the rush, because here is the round end right here, and it's not enough.
Oh man. Okay, so the first round, this was only the first round, one of many, goes to Sol.
Apparently we have some game. But we got that grab. Let's see, Sol is getting very aggressive on that pickup. Now he's backing in. He's kind of weaving back and forth. Disable the arm, go for the grab, and then baits but doesn't quite get the punish. Let's see what else we got going on here. Deflects the bird, barely misses the punish, gets knocked down. And CatFight getting quite aggressive, but getting punished by the Tribal there.
Yeah.
Getting hit, just keep getting pelted by that Tribal. Super big hitbox in the air. That is his worst nemesis right now.
Yeah. And this is very interesting because Sol actually was voted to not win this game, but he's taking such a big lead, and he's taking the first game as well. So
I would say the main thing there was, you know, Sol was to keep throwing out that Tribal, because he knew that if CatFight deflected the Tribal with the Parasol, he needed the Toaster to be able to bat it off to protect himself. And there he was just up close, so that CatFight wasn't able to react to him throwing out the Tri-Bolt, so he was just kind of going with the safe Tri-Bolt hit and having the toaster back up just in case. So that was a very smart play by Soul right there.
Yeah, and we're gonna go straight into the second game here now for the Sky Arena. Let's see.
Let's see if we have any switch-ups in the loadouts here. I expect no changes. I was expecting at least the Parasol, but maybe I expected maybe a Chilla, but I know that this is the preferred loadout for CatFight.
Yeah, and I'm really liking the loadout for Soul right now, using both. Actually, the loadout that I like the most. You can get in that Tri-Bolt, and something that I've seen Soul do a lot is if he gets the Tri-Bolt in with the stun, he immediately does a grab afterwards. It's kind of hard against Twintel, but it seems like that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, well, he's definitely following up at certain ranges. He's following up with the Toaster, which is more guaranteed. So that's pretty smart from Soul right there.
Okay, now it's getting a bit more even, but Soul is taking the lead again. Both having rushes right now.
Yeah, and here it goes. Electricity into the rush. Oh, that was a ton of damage. As you can see there, you know, even though Springman does have that superiority in close range, you can get punished quite easily.
Oh my god. Is it the comeback? Is it the
clutch let's see, but he does have the charge.
Oh. But Soul is in the clutch mode, and he does get the rush in. Oh my god. This is getting really close now.
One hit was gonna decide it.
Oh, he gets it! He gets it in the end. Wow. Damn. Oh man, okay. Up one game and up one round.
Alright. And Soul just needs to keep on that aggressive plan. Yeah. Oh, he goes for a grab, but gets punished by that Parasol. Now CatFight's closing in. Oh, he misses the punish. It's very fast-paced footsies right now. Very hard to keep up. These players are at a frantic scramble for superiority.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested to see here with CatFight's Parasol. It's very easy to read that Parasol, but CatFight is doing a good job of just relentless pressure in this case.
Oh, he gets that side grab, didn't react with the Parasol.
Yeah. He thought he had it with the dash ability, but it just wasn't enough, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, the cancel.
Very grab happy, but he had the rush to protect himself.
Oh man. What do you think CatFight needs to do to be able to capitalize on this? Because Soul just seems to be able to get that lead in every round right now.
Well, I would say that because Springman is such a dash-heavy character, good timing of the Thunderbird can punish those dashes, but again, Soul is a master at mixing up those timing. A lot of Springmans will just spam that dash ability, but he does different durations of charges. He reacts to attacks being thrown out. Oh, and he has a safe on that rush. I thought for sure he would have get hit.
Yeah, and then he gets the grab there as well. Oh my god. This is looking like it's going to be in the Soul's favor. If he can get the rush in. No! CatFight is sidestepping.
No, the tracking.
Oh.
Not quite. But I think CatFight, especially against how Soul is playing right now, he's going to need to really react to Soul's offense a bit more, but unfortunately did not have enough time to finish it off.
Yeah. No.
But I think in the next match, what would be good for CatFight here is possibly switching over from to using a Chilla, because it's a little bit more direct and it's a little bit more impactful when it comes to being usable in that close range scenarios, and possibly if wanting to go on the offensive because of how unsafe the Thunderbird can be on block and deflect at points.
Yeah. No, definitely. Sorry, I'm just fixing the overlay, so I'm just like kind of can't talk at the same time. But yeah, I agreed with what you said there. I'm hoping that CatFight can take it back this time around, because we want to see a full game here, not a 4-0, hopefully.
Yes. And let's see. I mean, CatFight is very loyal to that particular set, and it seems like Soul is very loyal to using a toaster, and occasionally using that Tri-Bolt.
But I really think that the loadout that Soul is using right now, as a Springman myself, now he gets grabbed, but I really feel that this loadout is a very good all-around play. The only thing that I could prefer is is getting like a Hydra instead of Tribal for the Twin Tail when she's jumping, but CatFight is staying very grounded in these games and taking a very good lead this time around.
Oh, there we go. So he's got the arm down, and he's but he broke the tubes, so it won't be in the way later.
Yeah, they already got some tubes down.
Yeah, so since we're on DNA Lab, I also like to point out the strength of the Thunderbird. Curved arms are very powerful. You can throw them out, duck behind the tubes. But if Soul is able to eliminate enough of those tubes, he will have a more advantage in the later rounds. And if he takes this round, that will definitely be the icing on the cake. But CatFight does have that rush, so he needs to play a little defensively, building up that rush until he goes in against to be able to feel safe.
And I'm thinking CatFight is staying way too defensive here. He had a good lead in the beginning, but he's starting to drop it. Oh, but he still gets the Thunderbird in there.
Yeah. As soon as CatFight had rush, he needed to go offensive, while Soul did not have his own.
Oh, I think he's gonna play for time now. He's gonna play for time.
He goes for the grab, he lands it!
Is it enough? Is it?
I'm not sure.
No, it's not enough. Okay.
Barely.
Okay, 1 round to CatFight. We have him on the board right now. That's awesome. Great. And there's no shame in playing for time, and everyone.
Oh yeah, that's it. Part of the game.
Let's see if CatFight can keep up with the pressure here, because he kind of lost it there in the end, I would say. Like, Soul was, like, if they had more time, Soul definitely looked like he had that in the bag.
Yeah, but again, like I said, we have that stage difference carrying over between rounds there. With less tubes this round, Soul's going to be able to get in more easily.
Oh, he was going for that. He was going for that tribal grab combo, but couldn't get it.
Yeah, at that range, it's not going to work. He's going to have to do more toaster hit follow-ups. But here we go, breaks the shield.
Breaks the shield, but almost no damage.
The Tribolt is very good at damaging arms and breaking shields. That's one of its strengths right there. Here we go. Oh, barely. Oh, and very nice dodging all those attacks and landing that solid straight toaster hit.
I think CatFight is starting to look a bit desperate now. He knows that he's playing. He doesn't want to play for time, and he's just throwing out punches kind of wildly here.
Yeah. And Soul is just kind of getting those deflects and trying to figure out when he is going to be able to punish these attacks.
Yeah.
But these tubes are making it very hard for his straight arms to be able to retaliate.
That was a good mix-up with going for the...
It certainly was. We'll see what happens in this close-range scenario.
Yeah, oh, it's going well. It's going well for him. Like this kind of pressure. That's where he's strong. But then that happens.
Get out of the rush. Let's see what happens. Last few seconds.
He gets the grab. Again.
I don't think it's enough.
Oh, it's enough. Okay, it's barely enough. Wow. Okay.
Damn.
Okay, we have a game, guys. This.
2-1. CatFight on the board with the 2-0 on that round.
All right. Let me just remove DNA Lab here.
All right, so we're going to Mausoleum next. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So Mausoleum, a very close, small map, not very much room to zone out. We'll see who takes advantage of the close-range style of gameplay that this takes advantage, or that this stage encourages. I think that Soul might have the advantage on this particular stage, but we'll see how it plays out.
Actually, I kind of have to disagree. Like like when the level is panned out like this without the trampoline, I feel like it's a very good game for Soul. But when the trampoline actually gets out, it's very hard for the Springman to get up close because you have to like chase them. But now
we'll definitely have to see how many throws, how many times they hit the ground if the trampoline does get unlocked.
Yes, definitely. But now
CatFight putting up a very good fight.
Yeah.
Beginning.
As is in the name. Okay, they're both going into rush mode
being
now.
Forced to be long range. Like there's a lot of hitboxes being put out. And this is a rush follow-up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just kind of does in reaction, but the fire does the instant knockdown, so no chance to follow up.
Yeah, CatFight is getting back into this now.
Ooh, that grab barely got stopped by that parasol there. It's just Soul's having a very hard time actually punching through the double medium arms, and he gets that follow-up very close.
But as is the Springman, it's the Clutch King, so it looks like he is going back into the later moments or later stages of the level here, and he's getting in those tri-bolts. He only needs a few more hits to get it.
I think it's just 1 or 2 more hits.
Oh, now CatFight. This is bad
Oh,
because now
jeez.
CatFight is going into defense mode. This is not where he wants to be because
Oh,
now Soul
here he
can
goes.
just do. Oh, he just uses the rush.
He rushes to guarantee the victory, which I think was a very smart play.
Yeah. That's.
But I was going to mention earlier in the first round that CatFight seems to be catching up on the. It seems that Soul has a bit of a tendency to follow up with the grab after the tribal, but as we can see at those ranges like that,
Yeah.
it's not a guaranteed follow-up. So he needs to be very aware that he is overextending himself when he kind of plays like that.
Yeah, yeah, and
CatFight seems to be picking up.
yeah, no, he's definitely reading that now. It's all about who is getting into their comfortable zone or comfort zone, I should say, and if they can stay there, because now it's going very back. Oh wow, that
grab
lag.
was pretty solid.
Yeah, that was an interesting grab. Oh, another
the
one.
grab mix up again. He's kind of just reading him
Oh,
now.
oh,
He kind of
damn,
like, I know what's gonna happen. That's the kind of thing that's happening right now.
man.
So Soul really needs to kind of get out of the pattern he's in currently. But that seems like CatFight is picking up with that. He needs to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, and the stage has still not broken yet. I guess these arms aren't very good for it. Oh, almost nearly getting out of that broken arm
Now,
stage.
okay, I think Soul's catching up on CatFight is getting a little grab happy at the moment.
Yeah.
See how CatFight decides to mix up when he throws out those grabs. Oh, that
the
side.
grab.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a bit of a poorly angled grab there. I guess it was predicting a dash. A lot of chip at least. Those arm combinations at least get you a good amount of the damage on the shield. The CatFight definitely walking away with this one. He has that rush. He's getting aggressive.
Yeah, now CatFight. Oh, and there goes the trampoline. Now we'll see if this. It's just the later stages now, so it won't be for long. But now we'll see how this changes the dynamic of the matchup here.
Yeah, we'll see if maybe if Soul can utilize it. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Springman is definitely more of a ground character, so getting on there does not let him get those
Oh.
E-flex. Well, let's see. Oh, the firing rate of the toaster rush lets him beat out his opponent's rush.
Oh man, but it seems like
Oh,
that
good
was
grab.
so close.
Ooh, that was close. Let's see one more hit. He needs to be very agile, very smart. Oh, it's anyone's game at this point.
Oh no. Okay.
Side. Oh, that was very close.
All right.
2-2.
2-2. Damn. Damn. This is becoming very interesting, I have to say.
This is so intense right now.
Yeah.
I didn't know ARM could be like this.
My heart.
Ah! Sorry, that was maybe too loud.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong scene here. Okay, there we go.
We got
Now we're in.
Spring Stadium going on, and I think Twin Tail's gonna have a bit of a fun time since you can really mix up the height wrap to use those air flows.
Yeah, despite this being like Springman's own level, I actually don't like it a lot.
Yeah, it's
Like as a
really not
Springman
good
myself.
for Springman because he's that ground type
Yeah,
character
definitely.
with deflect. But when your opponent has that barrel hop from space off what Spring Stadium gives you, it can be pretty hard.
Yeah, and I think now CatFight is not using the springs for his advantage here.
Yeah, he's
but-
keeping aggressive. I think that's what he learned on the other game.
Oh, and it doesn't get the follow-up juggle there. It's too bad. It's only 20% or 20 damage, but it can be a lot in the long run.
Certainly. Oh, we got that follow-up, but he was able to preemptively throw out that bird, that monster follow-up. But just a lot of tribals landing right now. It seems like Soul's being patient for those attacks. Still gets hit,
there he
arm
goes.
gets broken. Pretty rough. Let's see what happens. They're being pretty defensive here. Let's see who makes the first move. Whip and dodge. And
No, it's
oh,
not
got
enough.
Punished.
The parasol is just too slow.
See, here's a bit of a thing. It's just when you look at how rushes work, when you think of CatFight's arm combination, it fires single arms, and when you have going against the toaster that kind of keeps punching with mediums, you can't really break through in a rush-to-rush fight against a rapid-fire arm like the toasters. That's one of the biggest strengths of that type of rush.
Oh, just the grab in. And yeah, you're correct. And even though he went for the sidestep there, you'd think that he had the advantage, but no. The
Yeah, what he
parasols
really
just too
needed to do
slow.
was block into a guard advance into a punish.
Yeah, he was getting too
Oh,
greedy
damn,
there.
that was a great punish right there. Super fast guard advance into punish.
Oh.
And he's just wailing on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, man. And he gets the rush, lands it, and does he get
Oh!
the...
It was barely not enough.
To even get the last hit.
Yeah, now
Oh, he's
CatFight.
wild swings, trying to catch dashes. Oh,
Oh,
there.
is
He
it the
gets
Yabuki?
combo.
Oh, it's the Yabuki! This is what he's
And he
been doing in
catches
the lab. Oh my god. There we see it.
Got a stray hit. Oh, here he goes into the
Oh
grab.
my god, is this
One
the
hit.
comeback?
Can he do it?
Oh, and it does it!
The
What the hell? That's
HP.
That's what he was talking about. He was saying,
Now,
well,
that's
I've
gotta
been
be upsetting.
I've been doing a lot of labbing in the Springman arena. That's what we
This
see
is
here.
his own practice. Think about it.
Man, his practice really gets... That's what practice does, everyone. That's what you need to do.
And here we go. Oh, the rush breaks the shield. He knew that
Yeah,
that
he
shield
knew.
had nothing left on it. We got the grab. Kind of gets blocked. We go, just getting really aggressive. And I wonder if Soul is consciously aiming for those arms to try and get those guaranteed hits. Oh,
Yeah.
this split range grab, hard to react to.
And this is way more even than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. And we're seeing a lot more grabs than I would expect, but then again, at high levels we don't really see that many grabs, so maybe it's like grabs kind of get reintroduced at a higher level, you don't kind of expect
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing that's been coming back into the meta, because everyone is thinking, well, no one is
There's a
gonna
lot
grab.
of shield flip right now.
Yeah, exactly. No one is gonna grab, so then you grab, because no one is thinking about
Yeah.
it anymore.
Exactly. And that's kind of how you want to play grabs. You're kind of like, oh, well, your opponent's like, oh, he's not going to grab. But then you start, you introduce those grabs. And there we go, you got that sidestep punish.
Yeah.
You can see, oh, that right arm is very weak. Let's see, he's aiming for it.
Now,
Ooh.
oh, this is just a beauty to watch. Like, I don't even have to say anything. Everyone can just see these beautiful footsies that
That
they're doing.
slight whiff would have been a perfect punish. Here we got that rush. Here we go.
Is it
How
enough?
much damage is it going to be?
Yes, it's
Oh,
enough.
there it is.
He takes back the lead. Okay, okay.
Oh.
It was a 2-0. Now it's a 3-2.
I thought the whole time Seoul had that unlocked since the end of game 2, but then they come back and they got that third round to get that third game that he needed to go 3-2. Now it's actually match game for CatFight.
Yeah.
Be able to pull it out from starting out at 2-0 or at Seoul being at 2-0.
And now, the interesting part, like, we had a vote on Twitter earlier, and it was about 80% of people voted for CatFight to win. I think we had, like, about 60 votes. But Seoul is doing a very good job. I think people were
I was
underestimating it.
voting for Seoul, but dang, I'm not sure at this point. It could be anybody's game. But why do you think that CatFight was the favorite to go into this one? Because we have seen Seoul take on those very big tournaments, 2 of them at this point, and come out on top.
Oh, sorry, I'm just too way too into
Oh,
the
right,
game.
yeah,
No,
we can talk about it after this round.
Yeah, no, what I think is people have been viewing these tournaments, and they know that, for example, it was the same thing with CERT. Let's see,
Ooh, there we go.
it's a good comeback. Which is that they think that Seoul is playing against very bad people because he's playing against new players. CatFight has been playing a lot of online and been kind of showing his power. Oh, he gets the combo there.
There goes
then.
the first round.
And I think a lot of people have been recognizing CatFight from the online community, and instead of just being in the spotlight of Nintendo. So what has happened is that, like, Seoul has
Different
basically
context.
taken a spotlight where people are saying, well, he has to prove himself to get that spotlight, basically.
Okay, well, we'll see if he proves himself in this round, because if CatFight wins this round, he will win the exhibition match. So it's all on the line for Seoul, and double, tribal, that's a ton of damage right there. And let's see what happens. He's just at the bottom, he's going to have to fight his way to the top.
as
Figuratively
Springman does.
and literally.
Yeah. I think, oh, he lost that perfect now. Oh,
Here we go, we got that rush punish.
just
Doing a pretty good amount of
barely.
damage.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
that
do
was
too much
barely on
damage
that.
now with the Tri-Bolt and Toaster, but it's still enough. It's still good.
CatFight just towering over him with that height advantage, hitting him from the side. But he's still quite ahead. CatFight needs to change it up. But getting that punish, let's see, let's hopefully not a repeat of that second round in Spring Stadium.
This could be the last round if CatFight brings it back, but it's looking very grim right now. Oh, is it the
Oh, he
comeback?
gets that rush.
Oh,
It could be
it
a
does
comeback.
so much damage.
Soul is very close to his rush. He's hoping on getting that starting third round with that. And he
Oh.
might have to win this one. See if he gets it. Oh, it's so tense.
Oh, he gets it. I think
And
that's
it's
it.
over.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, that was such a close match. Both the fourth match, both that match and the Spring Stadium match. But that is the end of the exhibition.
Yeah.
And very, very well played by CatFight. It looked very grim from him, but he came through, just kind of sweeping it up to gain matches in a row. Very, very well played, and congratulations to CatFight for winning our first Fellows in Arms exhibition match.
Yeah. Well played by both players. And I have to say, this was way cooler than I thought it would be. Like I was coming into this like expecting them to be kind of chill about it, but they were going serious mode, because we were talking about this a bit previously, right? Where we were saying like, but it's just an exhibition match. But now when they were playing, they were actually like reading into each other very well, and I think they took it really seriously actually in the end there. But that's going to be it for the exhibition match. We're gonna bring up some last shoutouts from both of the players, and wrap up the episode of Fellows in Arms. So stay tuned, guys, because we'll be right back once we've gotten everything fixed up again. So thanks for tuning in, and see you guys soon. Okay. Let's go back here, and I want people to hear this this
Ready to see
exchange
on
of
a
words.
post-interview
Both
type
players
thing.
now saying GG to each other. That was really well played by both of you. What were like the Jabuki combo there on the Spring Stadium was really something.
It turned the set, I believe, around. Not to say that there wasn't momentum already from games 3 and 4, but specifically that the Yabuki combo damage setup off of the 180 throw is immense. That was what, half my life? More than that?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
So
it
like,
does like
that switched it around and made it like a last hit scenario. I didn't win out. That was for the set essentially. And then 3-2, big difference in mentality and going forward. I definitely tilted, got stressed out. You definitely pushed me though. It was an amazing fight, like flatly.
Hold on a second here. My Skype just got really weird here. Sorry. I just noticed. Okay, sorry. Sorry, guys, on the stream here. It got really messy there for a second. Yeah. No, but well played to both of the players. It was really nice to see you.
Very fun. Very fun.
One thing that I really liked seeing between you guys was how you were like starting to read off each other, like where your comfort zones were, because it felt like, for example, on the DNA lab there, like what was it, the CatFight, you were like really offensive, and then Sol started to read into that and going like really close to him, and I don't know, it was incredible. So thanks.
There's a lot of reading in there for sure. A lot of adaptation. So.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
good set.
thanks you guys for coming on to the show. We're just gonna do some like last minute shoutouts here for everyone, and we can begin with JayNite perhaps. Do you have some shoutouts that you want to share with you?
I'm just going to shout out what I did last time. I'm going to shout out my Bite and Bark Discord. I'm the owner of it. If you are interested in Bite and Bark, you play Bite and Bark, you come on over. We'll help you out. Come over some games, whatever you want. And my other shout out is my YouTube channel. I do analysis videos. Put out my Bite and Bark guide. I'm planning on putting out a lot more in-depth guides about mechanics. So again, if you're interested in the competitive side of ARMS and the in-depth analysis of mechanics and some things on how to play better, you can go over and check my channel, same name, JayNite. And yeah, I'm glad everyone who watched, and I hope everyone enjoyed.
All right, and now we can move over to CatFight. Do you have anything for the viewers at home?
As far as like shout outs and stuff, definitely want to give a shout out to the ARMS competitive Discord. I've been in there since the inception of it, and I want to thank Six, Tennis, and Mutator for adminning that server. Also, being from the Pokken community, it feels good that I have people that I'm familiar with, in the Discord. So if you're not already in there, which I suppose most people watching this are anyways, make sure you look that up and join the competitive Discord. A lot of conversation, a lot of tech discussion, data, and things like that is always, in the chat. And tournaments, popped up every once in a while too, so you could always keep an eye out for those. And then just personal shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Raj and Battle. They're Springmen mains as well, so I can't say that I didn't have a lot of practice going into like the exhibition. They're good players, and Raj I played in the grand finals of the New York City tournament. So thanks to them. And also, if you want to follow me on social media, I just pretty much run a Twitter right now. I'll stream eventually, but if you want to follow me and ask me any questions about Twintel or ARMS in general, you could just hit me up at CatFight. It's just spelled as normal. And a couple other things too. I did mention them already in the stream, but make sure that you do at least check out Defend the North for ARMS. Hopefully there's going to be a stream for that. And it's a big prize pool, so a lot of motivated people are going to be there. And then also, mark your calendars for NEC 18, which is in December. That has a little bit more of a time frame for you guys to plan ahead if you wanted to come out there. Another $500 pot bonus, so it'll be a good competition out there. And then also, if you're interested in just offline competitive ARMS in general, make sure that you inquire at your local fighting game or Smash Bros communities to see if ARMS is a possibility at their tournaments. There's very little locals already. Hitbox Arena versus Gaming Center, and a couple sprinkled in within. But we could definitely start pushing the competitive scene a little bit harder, especially with the Switch being portable. There's a no-brainer that we could just bring it to any local and start up our own thing and see where it goes from there. So those are my shout-outs.
Thank you so much. And now finally, Sol, do you have any shout-outs to anything here that you want to share?
I mean, a lot of different people. You've got Chroma Discord, you've got I'll just get the Gormagala one out of the way for Phallus, who I'll also shout out with Drogus, pretty much all the people that I've been fighting with. But on the broader sense, I need to thank my sponsor, Noble Esports. I need to thank the Reddit. I need to thank pretty much every aspect of the Discord as a whole. And I want to say an extra big thank you out to Nintendo Versus for pushing this game in the scene. Yeah. And other than that, and Twitch.tv, because they also help fly me out there. So fantastic stuff.
All right.
And just a last shout out. I want to say shout out to Sol. I know that he's been super busy, being in all these different tournaments and stuff like that. And I really respect you as a player, putting in a lot of work for the game and the community at the same time. So I appreciate you putting time aside to do this and put the exhibition on for everyone.
Thank you. I was glad to participate, and I think I'm going to just go basically pop off and get some rest finally. And I am just, whew. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. CatFight, it was really a great set. Thank you so much for playing me. I appreciated it. A lot of fun. I hope to
Likewise.
actually see you in bracket soon, my friend.
Yeah.
Word. Same.
So as for me and for Fellows in Arms, if you want to continue watching Fellows in Arms, you can follow this Twitch stream, Defur, or you can follow me on Twitter. It's the same nickname. In the future, I'm thinking of doing some tournaments, so hit me up if you think that's a good idea. You can also join the Discord, where we talk about a lot of shit, and I'll just type that into the chat there as well. And I'm really looking forward to this. This was a really great experience, and well played to both players. And thank you, JayNite, for helping me out with the casting. I couldn't have done it myself because I'm literally these overlays are really confusing. So thank you everyone, and thank you for watching. And even if it's a VOD or if it's live here now, thank you, because you guys make me want to do this more. So
Awesome,
like and follow, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. So bye from us. I think that's it for Fellows in Arms episode 4.
Yeah.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Peace.
Bye bye.